Brotherhood champions of the Grey Knights. The stench permeating the frigate was thickest just outside the bridge. As the blast door groaned open, a mountain of writhing filth heaved forward. Fëdor Ankylos, Brotherhood champion of the Silver Blades, sidestepped the demon prince Offalrot and arced his blade to deflect the swipe of a colossal claw. Ankylos and his fellow Grey Knights had battled waves of putrid demons to reach the Nurglesque monster. Now only he remained, having ordered the Battle Brothers off the vessel before it was sucked into the warp tear. Offalrot stabbed out with his other taloned hand, but again Ankylos parried before plunging his sword into the sagging flank of the beast. A torrent of curdled pus and viscera spewed forth from the puncture, followed by the scrabbling claws of parasitic Nurglings emerging from their host. Offalrot let out a thunderous chortle, stuffing the Nurglings back into his guts, even as the rent in his side re-knit. But before the wound sealed, Ankylos focused his mind to release a concentrated blast of furious energy. The psychic explosion erupted deep within Offalrot's belly, splitting his abdomen and sending bone and organ parts flying. The demon's laughing face twisted with blinding pain and rage. He tried to grab the Grey Knight with his claws and prehensile tongue, but Ankylos was too fast. With a slash, a follow-up strike and a finishing blow, the Brotherhood champion shredded the last of Offalrot's essence. Before the remains hit the floor, Ankylos was running for the airlock. As the Brotherhood champion abandoned the crippled frigate, the ship buckled and writhed as the warp claimed it. Welcome, gentle listener, I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the factions, faces, and units of the Warhammer 40k setting. The grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace, there is only time for war. A reminder that we have other avenues of entertainment, links in the description. Give us a like and share if you enjoyed the video, and to support our ongoing efforts against boredom, do consider joining our Patreon. Now, let us proceed. For today, we shall be discussing one of the most deadly warriors under the Emperor's command. Of course, as we have heard in many an entry on the guides, the competition is stiff. With blade masters of many stripe, it can be difficult to actually make any form of a decision on who or what is actually most dangerous. There are the Emperor's champions of the Black Templars. There are the Sanguinary Guard of the Blood Angels, the leaders of the Dark Angels, and the undoubtedly superior skills and abilities of the 10,000. The very bodyguards of the Emperor himself, the Adeptus Custodes. Yet few can compare to any of these warriors with a blade. Fewer still can even be considered to be in the same league as the warriors we are about to discuss. Perhaps the Custodians are the closest to them, but in every other situation, every other force, there is simply no contest at all. For despite being Adeptus Astartes, Space Marines, these beings are not of the same caliber whatsoever. For their gene seed was not taken from a Primarch, but from the Emperor himself. They are a cut above, if you will forgive the pun. And so, as usual, for the very basics, let us lean on existing wisdom. To quote, Brotherhood champions. Where a Grand Master dictates the strategy of a Brotherhood in its unending mission, and a Brother Captain leads his battle brothers on the fields of war, a Brotherhood champion acts as an exemplar of divine martial prowess to which all Grey Knights aspire. He is a warrior of peerless skill, having reached the apex of training with every weapon in the chapter's armory. Fighting at the fore of battles against the largest and most horrendous monstrosities, a Brotherhood champion perfectly embodies the discipline and might of the Grey Knights. The Nemesis Force Sword is the weapon of choice amongst Brotherhood champions, for above all other armaments, A sword allows for both offensive and defensive maneuvers. Against myriad foes, a brother champion may set their stance wide, putting even greater strength into every slash and stab of his blade. Conversely, when facing down some ancient horror from the warp, he will remain light on his feet, nimbly feinting and parrying the creature's attacks. Among a Brotherhood champion's responsibilities are the martial training of new recruits, and on the battlefield he acts as a bodyguard to his brother captain. Each champion stands ready to die in his captain's stead. That said, few opponents stand any chance of breaking a Brotherhood champion's guard, let alone surviving his vengeful return strike. Should a champion be struck down, his willpower coalesces as a pulse of pure psychic energy released into his Aegis suit, giving him one final burst of energy and the opportunity to strike one last blow for his battle brothers. End quote. Now I would note that the story at the start of this entry, as is the quote, was taken from the Grey Knight's Codex. I just liked it, so why not? Now the description given is stark and tells but a fraction of the true state of affairs, for each of the Grey Knights is not merely a space marine. They are all psychers of exceptional power, amazing skill, formidable protection, and absolute devotion to the cause of the Emperor. None, not one of them, has ever fallen in 10,000 years. The absolute extermination of anything from the void is their constant crusade. And these knights can know the true names of their enemies, making them even more able to destroy even the most gargantuan Neverborn or demon who they come across. Their blades are not like those of their contemporaries, for they use chain and power swords, as do most Marines, whereas the Brotherhood champion of the Grey Knights wields a nemesis force weapon. Thus is the champion able to use his considerable psychic powers to send a charge down the blade that literally unmakes all warp-born that even come close to it, let alone suffer a direct hit. It is these abilities that make the Grey Knights the premier demon hunters in the entire Imperium of mankind. And immortal or not, usually, it is only an arrogant, ignorant, or senescent demon that willingly steps into a conflict with a warrior with one of these weapons. The Brotherhood champion, surely, the sharpest blades the Emperor commands. Thank you for your precious time. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.